It is the third day of December 2020. Good afternoon to you wherever you are, and welcome to the midday news here on Pan-African Television. We're broadcasting live across 32 African countries via satellite. My name is Abban. Now, coming up in the following bulletin, now submit yourself to traditional deity if you're not corrupt. Fifi Kwati to President Akufo-Addo. Now, still coming up, Ghana level series of allegations against EC ahead of December polls. Still coming up, President Akufo-Addo declares December 7th as public holiday. Still coming up in business, fuel prices to go up according to the Institute of Energy Security. Now, this and many other stories coming up shortly, including international, sports and entertainment. Do stay with us, we'll be right back. Many thanks for still staying with us. This is Pan-African Television News. My name is Abban. Now, 4 days to the December polls, and this is election focus. Now, let's stay on election focus a bit. Now, the opposition National Democratic Congress has declared Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo to submit himself to the deity to prove his innocence in a matter in which he is alleged to have taken a $40,000 bribery from an individual to influence his office. Now, speaking at a press conference held by the party at its headquarters yesterday here in Accra, Member of Parliament of Ketu South constituency and former Deputy Finance Minister Fifi Kwati said the country is in trouble when Ghanaians vote into office a president who makes sure that hypocrisy and deception is in order of the day. He added that the president is hiding behind Bible scriptures to defraud the state by superintending over a series of corruption scandal.
The collecting of bread is bad enough. The one you have on top of it, literally a presidency that simply is making sure that hypocrisy and deception become the order of the day. This country is in trouble. We are doomed. And if you leave the way, if adding enough, let's go first support and continue to pretend that we cannot see, we cannot hear, and allowing this to continue, we are destroying this nation and our children are in trouble. Our children are in trouble. The soul of Ghana is at stake. This is not just about power. Our national anthem says we should have fearless honesty. That fearless honesty should enable us to fight oppressors' rule. That's the only way you can build a nation that is great and strong. You must see what you call a catalog of lies. One district, one factory, lies. Where the government simply go back to same factories, give them some incentive. There's nothing wrong with accepting, I promise this, I simply can't do it. There's nothing wrong. But when you go into what you call the grand deception, to lie to people when everybody can see that what you are doing is not what you promise, that is destroying the very soul of a nation. One village, one dam. They come and tell you that, right, you expect us to be able to build dams with 250,000? Then why the deception? This is what you find systematically, all kinds of things. You say it's simply for power. And then when you say, oh, you promised one time when you're illegal. So that's their justification. And for we lost power. So if anything at all, the country has done what it's got to do. What about you? That run on the high horse of incorruptibility. And you actually prefer words, and when they talk, you say, oh, because you promised you didn't do, it justifies my degeneration, my decadence, my corruption, my lies, my hypocrisy. No! So one of the things we are coming to show you today is to establish to you that we have been in COVID. And all over the world, COVID has been called a global pandemic. But it's actually a bigger pandemic that confronts Ghana. It's a pandemic of deception that is ruling this nation. It's a plague of hypocrisy that is presiding over Ghana. It's a transformation of Ghana into a citadel of corruption. have all the enablers to keep quiet while grave danger is going on. So what we're going to see today is again another systematic effort by our friends in NPP to try to play a fast one over every one of you. You, the media, should not enable it. You should not enable it. Some of the lies you're going to hear that, oh, this actually happened even before he became president. It's a lie. We're going to establish that. We'll establish that to you. Oh, this actually was just a donation. There was nothing wrong about it. It's a lie. And deep down, I'm sure many of you know. Deep down in the heart of President Akufo-Addo, he knows. I come from the Europa League region. And a few of you know the Europa will know. You dare not lie. If President Akufo-Addo actually says he's a man, let him come with me to the Europa and see whether he can lie there. He will not. He will not. But because in the name of all these holy, he can swear the Bible and lie. Because he's so fear. But when it is that you know that you cannot escape, you will not be able to lie. And we'll be able to establish that to you, that all the things you are going to see, the maneuvers on the part of our friends in NPP to simply deceive you, is simply nothing but lies.
We're still on election focus. Now, civil society organization Care Ghana has made some allegations against the Electoral Commission ahead of next week's elections. Now, according to them, the Electoral Commission is mandated by law to conduct free and fair elections.
The Executive Secretary of Care Ghana, David Kumi-Addo, alleged in an interview that the Electoral Commission was attempting to stop eligible Ghanaian voters who reside in some towns close to the borders of Ghana from voting. Hence, the deployment of military personnel in the volatile Mbunu regions.
Okay, we are also reliably informed that the Electoral Commission is directing the police, Ghana Police Service, to prevent non-Ghanaians from participating in the upcoming elections. Source. We can't reveal our source. Some of these police guys, a lot of these guys cannot speak because of the tenets of their job. So what they happen is that they confine in you, they can speak to you. A lot of people call on us, Care for Fair and Fair Elections Ghana. They know that we talk about elections in helping to ensure that there are free, fair and transparent elections in this country. So everything that is related to elections, many of them call on us to confine in us, to tell us some of the things that are happening, and for which we had this information. Now, we were taken aback when we heard this information, because as part of the reasons, the key arguments of the Electoral Commission for changing the existing biometric voters register was that that register was an ECOWAS register. By the wisdom of the Electoral Commission, the register, there are a lot of foreigners on the register, so it doesn't fully represent the people of this country, Ghana. Therefore, the need to have a register that fully represents the people of the country, which is a Ghanaian register. Today, we have that register compiled, and the Electoral Commission is telling us again that there are non-Ghanaians on the register, for which is directing the Ghana Police Service to prevent people from voting. We believe that that directive is simply to ensure that people from opposition strongholds, eligible voters from opposition strongholds, are denied their constitutional right to participate in every public elections. We are asking the police service to also defy this particular directive, because one, this is not the responsibility of the police. The responsibility of the police is not to determine who is a Ghanaian or who is not. That is not the responsibility of the police. So the police should disregard that. Everybody on the register, Care for Fair and Fair Elections Ghana, Care Ghana, believes is a Ghanaian and is eligible to participate in the coming elections. Therefore, everybody on the register should be allowed to vote, so that majority of the people will choose who should lead us, but not the police or the Electoral Commission determining who should lead us in this country.
They also allege that the hierarchy of the security agencies are inciting the men and women in uniform to perpetrate intimidation of voters in opposition strongholds.
Okay, we have been informed by some of the security men or security personnel that have been deployed to opposition strongholds that what happened during the registration exercise, where eligible voters, innocent voters, Ghanaians, were harassed and intimidated. with the aim of preventing majority of them from registering, they should repeat such thing. And we find it very, very unfortunate, because if you are going for an elections, and these elections, there are a lot of things that have made the elections, the stakes very high. First of all, we have two leading political parties whose leadership have had one term and they are going for a second term. And the conduct of the Electoral Commission itself has caused people not to have trust and confidence in the Electoral Commission. So there is that feeling that this election is going to go some way. And most importantly, the things that happened in Iowa's West Wagon by-elections, where thugs, vigilantes that were given police vehicles and uniforms, meted atrocities on innocent Ghanaians, on armed Ghanaians, that these things are going to occur in huge quantities in these elections because of the promise that were made by these thugs to Ghanaians. So lots of people are harboring some fear. A lot of people, when they call you, they are not too worried about the elections itself, but the peace and their safety are the things they talked about. So when these security officers called us and informed us on this particular thing, we were like, no, we'll have to put this thing out. Encourage them that they have the support of us, and they have the support of the entire Ghanaian population, because the ammunitions and the accoutrements and the vehicles that have been bought for them were procured with taxpayers' money, and their salaries are being paid by the taxpayer as well. So as part of their duty, or their main duty, is to protect lives, limbs, and property.
Now, away from that, President Akufo-Addo has declared Monday, 7th December 2020 as public holiday. According to a statement signed by Director of Communication at the Presidency, Eugene Hayen, this is to help facilitate the conduct of the 2020 general election. In a release, he said, which is dated 2nd December 2020, for immediate release, President Akufo-Addo declares Monday, 7th December as public holiday. Now, the President of the Republic of Ghana, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, has, by the executive instrument, declared Monday, 7th December 2020 as public holiday. This is to facilitate the conduct of the elections in the context of the COVID-19 pandemic, help ensure strict observance of COVID-19 safety protocols on election day, and enable registered voters exercise their franchise in safety and with minimal inconveniences. This decision was taken following the submission of a proposal to the presidency by the chairperson of the Electoral Commission, Ms. Jane Mensah, a proposal which is supported by the Inter-Party Advisory Committee, IPAC, for Monday, 7th December to be declared as a public holiday to permit the safe exercise of the franchise in the context of the pandemic. Under Section 3 of the Public Holiday and Commemorative Day Act 2001, Act 601, the President has the power to declare any other day as a public holiday instead of a day specified as a statutory public holiday. Thus, with Farmers' Day having been celebrated on Friday, 7th November 2020, the President is satisfied that it will be inexpedient for Friday, 4th December 2020, which is a statutory public holiday, to be observed as a public holiday. As such, Friday, 4th December 2020 will not be observed as holiday. Signed, Eugene Ahin, Director of Communication. Now, this is a statement that was put out there by the Office of the President, declaring 7th December as a public holiday. Now let's move to other stories. Now the managing editor of the Inside newspaper, Kwesi Pratt Jr., has lamented many Ghanaians fear there may be incidents of violence in the upcoming December 7th polls. Now speaking on Pan-African Television's social and political program, The Palaver, the veteran journalist recounted some pockets of violence that has characterized the electoral process, which according to him have been unattended to as cause to worry.
West Wagon, nobody was spared. Uniformed security personnel from the Ghana Armed Forces and the police service were assaulted, brutally assaulted. Innocent civilians were gunned down, and some of them suffered amputation of their limbs. Some of them have perpetual injuries. They would never recover from their injuries and so on. As a result of all of this mayhem, the elections, the National Democratic Congress, for example, had to withdraw from the elections and so on. Now, government set up a commission of inquiry into what had happened at the Ayawaso West Wagon. The Commission of Inquiry report was rejected by the very government who set it up. And there are all kinds of excuses and so on. Now, I am deeply worried, and I think every Ghanaian should be deeply worried about the possibility of getting another Ayawaso West Wagon situation. And we need to be worried about that because since Ayawaso West Wagon, many other things have happened. In fact, in the recent registration exercise, we are told the story of a minister of state who actually acquired a gun, deliberately loaded the gun, carried the gun to a polling station and started opening fire. Police claim that they were investigating the matter, and up to today, nobody knows what happened to the case. And like all such cases, it is likely to become a foolish case, as they say. We are told of several incidents when armed gangs actually went to the registration centers with pepper sprays. They went there with pepper sprays. We are told of an incident in the Borhafo region where actually somebody was stabbed to death. Now the question that we need to raise is that if this were a common registration exercise, people died, people opened fire with guns, pepper sprays were used and so on, then what would happen when we reach the actual day of voting, when we reach the voting time? What would happen? It's instructive that over the last 1 week or two, there have been some very disturbing developments on social media. I saw a video of 2, 3, or 4 people sitting in an armored vehicle, a police armored vehicle, with pump action guns in strange uniform, threatening the electorate. And when the alarm was raised, the police administration came forward and said, these are our men. They are legitimate policemen who were on an exercise. And the question I ask is, how can proper legitimate police people behave in such a manner?
From that, the Anglo Traditional Council has petitioned the President and Ado Dankwa Akufo-Addo to put on hold all funeral arrangements made in relation to late former head of state Jerry John Rawlings indefinitely. The petition and press statement signed by the Awadada of Anglo Togbe Agbesi Awusi II said the late former president as a royal was installed as a chief in accordance with the tradition, customs and culture of Anglo before his demise, hence the reason for all arrangement to be suspended.
The one-page statement to the press reads, Office of the Apadada of Anglo State, Apadada Palace, Angloga, dated 2nd December 2020. Press statement. We, the chiefs of the Anglo Traditional Council, the heads of the Agbotui, Temaklo and allied families meeting today, the 2nd of December 2020, at the Palace of the Apadada of Anglo State at Agwawonu, Angloga, resolved to petition the head of state, His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, to put on hold all preparation for all funeral and burial of the late head of state, Flight Lieutenant Jerry John Rawlings, till further notice. The late Flight Lieutenant Jerry John Rawlings was not only a former head of state of the Republic of Ghana, but also a traditional ruler of the Anglo State, properly installed with all rights, rituals and symbols according to Anglo custom and practices, and must be accorded all the valedictory burial rights. We are therefore petitioning the head of state of the Republic of Ghana, His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, who is also the royal, to support our petition and grant us the request. Signed, Togbi Agbesi Awusu II, Apadada of the Anglo State. The petition to the President also reads: Office of the Apadada of Anglo State, Apadada Palace, Angloga, dated 2nd December 2020. His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, President of the Republic of Ghana, Jubilee House, Accra, petition to halt preparation towards the funeral and burial of the late head of state, Flight Lieutenant Jerry John Rawlings. We, the chief of Anglo Traditional Council, the head of the Agbotui, Temaklo and allied families meeting today, the 2nd of December 2020, at the Palace of Apadada of Anglo State, Agwawonu, Angloga, resolved to petition the head of state, His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, to put on hold all preparation for the funeral and burial of late head of state, Flight Lieutenant Jerry John Rawlings, till further notice. The late Flight Lieutenant Jerry John Rawlings was not only a former head of state of the Republic of Ghana, but also a traditional ruler of the Anglo State, properly installed with all rights, rituals and symbols according to Anglo custom and practices, and must be accorded all the valedictory burial rights. We are therefore petitioning the head of state of the Republic of Ghana, His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, who is also the royal, to support our petition and grant us the request. Yours sincerely, Togbi Agbesi Awusu II, Apadada of Anglo State. CC the Regional Minister, Honorable Dr. Archibald Lecture. The Minister of Chieftaincy and Traditional Affairs, Honorable Kofi Amasi. The President, National House of Chiefs. The President, Volta Regional House of Chiefs.
All right, so many thanks for still staying with us. Well, we have him joined in the studio by representative from the NDC, Ruth Sedo, who happens to be the deputy youth organizer, to elaborate more on the youth development policies captured in the People's Manifesto of the NDC. Ruth, you're welcome to Pan-African Television.
Thank you very much, Morgan.
Yes, I see you guys have been extremely busy with campaign and all that, seeing on social media, doing a lot of things. No, quickly, let's look at the youth development, policies captured under the NDC's People's Manifesto. First of all, I'd like to talk about the creation of the Ministry of Youth Development. What does it entail? What do you mean by the creation of youth development, ministry?
Okay, thank you very much, and I want to say a warm good afternoon to your viewers out there, and I also want to remind them that next week on Monday, let's get all our voters' ID card ready, and let's make sure that we leave nobody behind. Let's all march to our polling stations. Let's cast our votes and oust this incompetent, this useless government, this government.
Let's be mindful of words a bit.
Oh no, I'm not talking about an individual being useless. I'm saying the government, because this government has been a government that has been of no use to us at all, you know, since the creation of this country. If I tell you the amount of money that has gone into that, this government has accrued over the period, you know, since it took over, and absolutely nothing to show. With the meager resources His Excellency John Dramani Mahama had, and look at everywhere around us. If it's not roads, we are talking about hospitals, and we are talking about huge hospitals, ultra-modern hospitals. You understand? As we speak today, the University of Ghana Medical Center is the best in West Africa. As we speak today, the Terminal 3 at Kotoka Airport is the best in West Africa, the second best in the whole of Africa. You understand? Tremendous, impactful projects that has given direct jobs to thousands and millions of Ghanaian youth. This is what I'm talking about. So if I say a government is useless, it is not an insult. It's a perfect description of how wasteful they have been, how they have wasted our years, 4 years of, you know.
So let's talk about the creation of the Ministry of Youth Development that has been captured under the People's Manifesto of the NDC.
Thank you. It's very simple. Unfortunately, you know, we have a ministry that entails youth, sports, and other, you know, other things. So we've not been able to focus much on the development of the youth. It's been solely focused, that ministry has solely focused on sports, and even sports, it's been limited to football. And I'm sure we are all aware of this. This is the reason why. So young people do not know where to go. Young people have bright ideas. Young people want to turn into entrepreneurs. Young people want to use their ideas and their hands to do some things for themselves. But the question is that if you don't have somebody, if you don't have that connection, if you don't know Ruth, if you don't know Pablo, if you don't know Adam, who do you go to? You understand? The question is, who do you go to? That is why we see it as very imperative to create a ministry for youth, solely to look at how we can develop, you know, the young people's talents in this country, be it whatever it is, irrespective of what you want to do. If it's apprenticeship you want to engage in, if it's agriculture you want to engage in, if it's entrepreneurship, whatever it is, we should have a place, we should have a desk, we should have an office where people, young people, can write proposals, you know, go to those offices, submit their proposals to them, so that those proposals will be looked at. And we need an office where we can also, you know, government will allocate funds to, where directly those funds will impact positively in the development of our young people. And that is why John Mahama, the truth is that John Mahama says that the level of unemployment in our country is life-threatening, is a nation-wrecking issue. And we are sitting on a time bomb. That is why it's necessary that as soon as possible, we need to really, you know, speedily look at a way that we can focus and pay a lot of attention to our young people and provide for them what they are looking for. Look, Ghanaian youth are aspirational. Ghanaian youth are hardworking. Ghanaian youth want to achieve a lot of things, but the modus operandi is the problem, and that is what we seek to, you know, solve with this.
Earlier on, you made mention of entrepreneurship, how best we can create, you know, jobs, you know, or create businesses for the youth. Now I see that it's been also captured in the manifesto. Now, how do you intend, you know, establishing, putting up the youth entrepreneurship development, you know, program, the YEDEP?
Yeah. You know, under His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, we came out with NEP, we came out with we came out with YES, and the whole idea was that we want to encourage young people to, you know, go into entrepreneurship. The period or the situation where young people have to depend on government, central government, to provide jobs, I think that it's outdated. Today, China has become China because of the use of their hands and the use of their minds. So most of the things we find around, the carpets around this desk we are sitting on, the chair we are sitting on, our laptops, all these things are coming from China. And it is because the government has decided to focus on entrepreneurship. We believe that, look at this young boy who completed BEC just recently, who wrote the BEC recently. Look at look at the wonderful, car that he manufactured. Let me say he manufactured. Beautiful. And looking at his age, this is somebody who we can groom and invest in heavily to become the next, somebody who will manufacture cars in this country, the next Kantanka, maybe a young Kantanka. you get me? Yeah. And so this is the reason why we think that entrepreneurship is key if we want to massively reduce the levels of unemployment, if we want to massively reduce the levels of importation. Where toothpicks are even imported into this country. Look, I can tell you that if somebody, a young person, wants to invest in just toothpicks, I can tell you that the number of employment jobs that just toothpicks will provide for the young people of this country, we have no idea.
Right. Now, it also touched on increasing student loans by 100%. Briefly speak to us.
All right. Before that, let me just say that because we are talking about entrepreneurship, let me add the National Apprenticeship Program. His Excellency John Dramani Mahama's focus is that in the next 4 years, we are going to give 500,000 Ghanaian youth the skills and the tools that they need to set up. If it's mechanic you want to be, if you want to be an electrician, if you want to be a welder, if you want to be a dressmaker, you want to be a hairdresser, whatever form of apprenticeship you want to learn, John Dramani Mahama is giving you that opportunity. We are going to train 500,000 Ghanaian people. And then in the course of training, we are also going to provide them with stipends, monthly stipends. A child who is hungry, when you put that child to work or to learn, there's no way that child can accommodate anything. And so we will give them monthly stipends. And aside that, when you are completed with your course, we will make sure that we give you the kits and the tools that you need to set up for yourself. Again,
let's talk about the increasing student loans by 100%.
Thank you very much. His Excellency John Mahama, under him, introduced the Student Loan Plus. And in fact, we increased the amount from 600 to 1,000 from 1,000 to about 1,600 under John Dramani Mahama when he was the president. And this time, what we are going to do is that we are going to increase the allocation even more. And aside increasing the allocation, we are also going to increase the number of people who can access. And the most beautiful thing about this policy is that we are taking away the guarantee. Okay. Situation where you need a guarantor to guarantee before you can get a loan, and the means of getting a guarantee is something that has really denied people from getting access to higher education, and we want to do that. Then I believe that you have heard about the Chimpe.
Yes, I believe finally about the Chimpe.
Finally.
Yeah.
Anyway,
all
right. So the good people of this country, mothers, fathers, parents, young people who have completed secondary school, if you want to have a higher education, your alternative is His Excellency John Dramani Mahama and NDC. The reason is that all those who have completed SYC, secondary school, we are going to give you tertiary education for free. If you want to go to university, if you want to go to the nursing college, training college,
for the
first years, it is going to be free. The reason is that when you are entering into school for the first year, the school fees is always high. You have other things you have to buy, the books and all those things you have to buy, and that is why we are going to give it to them for free. And for the continuing students, we are bringing the Chimpe policy, and the Chimpe is that John Mahama is going to take 50% of your school fees, and your parents take 50% of the school fees. Even with the 50% your parents are going to take, we are going to make sure that we provide a student loan for you to access, so that you can also get the peace of mind to continue school. And the good news is that after school, you have a long period of 10 years to pay back that loan.
Right. Thank you very much, Mr. Your final words. Final words. Lastly, then we go.
My final word to everybody is that we don't have time. 4 years is enough time to punish ourselves. We cannot make a mistake by going back to the mess that we find ourselves in. In fact, Ghana has lost over 17 billion Ghana cedis to corruption under Akufo-Addo alone. And this is the reason why this money, if we had converted into building schools, into building hospitals, into building factories, Ghanaian young people would be getting a lot of jobs to do. And we are saying that, please, once you go to the polls, remember that it's a decision-making time. It's a destiny decision-making time. And remember that John Mahama is going to provide free primary health healthcare, where our folks, everybody from young to old, will get access to healthcare for free. And let's also remember that 1 million jobs underway, 1 million sustainable, well-paying, dignified jobs underway, and every year is 250,000. In the next 4 years of John Mahama, if you want to get employed and get a meaningful job and get married and have your children and have a peaceful, stable, democratic country where the views of everybody is respected and when people are not killed because the president disagrees with them, then your option is His Excellency John Dramani. He's on number 2, as you can see my hand, number 2. And all our parliamentary candidates are also on number 2. Thank you very much. Thank you all, and may God bless you.
Thank you very much, Ruth. Well, we have been in conversation with Ruth Sedo, who happens to be the deputy youth organizer of the NDC. We're discussing the youth development policies under the NDC's People's Manifesto. Now, let's do some other elections-related stories. Now, the National Secretary of the Convention's People's Party, Naya Jantua, at the party's press conference in Accra on Monday, discredited surveys conducted by some universities purported to be the outcome or close of the outcome of the upcoming general elections come Monday, the 7th of December. She further assured the general public that under no circumstances will the Ghana Union Movement, GUM, leave the CPP when the elections results are announced.
Aware that the surveys that have been done, especially the one they said is from the political science department, certainly some investigations have come up to say it is not from there. That is one point. You should also understand that some of these surveys that are done to suit certain masters who themselves fund these surveys. So at the end of the day, the results of these surveys come out as if a certain political party is going to make it. We have so many times, we were in this country when there were surveys that in 2016 that the NDC was going to win a certain margin. It didn't happen. So I do not think that we should put our hopes on surveys, and especially the one that you are referring to. I mean, it's a bit incongruous. It beats our imagination as CPP to think that anybody will say that GUM will be ahead of us. It does not make sense, because GUM itself is a movement. It's not even a political party, and it stands for nothing. And all GUM does is show pictures of what our founder did. That is usurpation completely. Where did he get the copyright from? If we are going to take it further, the CPP can even take him on, because it's usurpation. And GUM is not a credible person. GUM is not a credible candidate. We don't have to even go in there. And what we are saying is that we are focused. What we are saying is that we are here to tell you what we are going to do when you vote for us. And we are not interested in service. We have gone around. We know what the people are saying. The grassroots are crying for us. The country is crying for the CPP. And our interest is to change Ghana, turn Ghana around, and make Ghana a good nation. A nation that is for all of us. Government is for the people and by the people. It is not for a group of people. And that is exactly what the CPP is going to exact. We are not interested in service. We are interested in protecting the interests of the Ghanaian. We are interested in promoting justice. We are interested in promoting equality. We are interested to ensure that Ghanaians are looked after. There is accommodation, there is food on your table, there is quality education, not just free. Quality education, which will also go with free. So all we have to say is that CPP is moving forward. Forward ever, backwards never. Thank you very much.
Well, let's do some health stories. Now, International Day of Persons with Disability, which was instituted by the United Nations in 1992, is held annually and globally on December 3rd. This year's theme is Building Back Better towards an inclusive, accessible and sustainable post-COVID-19 world by, for and with persons with disability.
The observance of the day aims to promote an understanding of disability issues and mobilize support. The day is also set aside to help everyone become more compassionate and understanding of the challenges faced by people with disabilities. People with disabilities can be and very often are contributing and valued members of society, and today is all about appreciating them. They are also disproportionately affected by the health, social and economic consequences of the global COVID-19 pandemic. Many people who have disabilities can face a variety of challenges when job hunting, going on interviews, and working an office job. Living with a disability can be very challenging. The difficulties a disability presents each day often demand our attention and resources, and so it is easy to focus on an individual's disability because they stand out. But each individual also has many abilities as well as untapped potential. Children with profound cognitive deficits draw amazing pictures, sing like an angel, remember details that will challenge any of us, love their family unconditionally, and so much more. Yes, there are challenges, but if the focus is on what these individuals cannot do, it can really affect them. Furthermore, by seeing people rightfully, we offer each person the dignity they deserve.
That's all we have for you on our local phone. Now, up next is business. Well, the Institute of Energy Security has projected a hike in the prices of fuel on the domestic market in December. Now, according to the Institute, the sharp increase is as a result of the 11.5% increase in price of the international benchmark Brent crude. The 6.94% increase in the prices of gasoline, the 7.26% increase in the gasoline prices, and the sustainability of the local currency.
The institute also attributed the hike to renewed hopes of a COVID-19 vaccine following other announcements by major vaccine producers within the period. Prices of fuel on the local market remain stable within the window under review. Prices of petroleum products within the second pricing window of November 2020 saw the majority of oil marketing companies maintaining prices of gasoline and gas oil. The current national average price of fuel per litre at the pump is pegged at 4.61 pesewa. For this pricing window, Zin Petroleum, Benab Oil, Star Oil, and Alinco Oil sold the lowest price per litre of gasoline and gas oil at the pump, according to IES Market Scan. On the world oil market, Brent crude price within the period saw an increase in average price, with the commodity being sold at $45.49 per barrel mark, representing an 11.5% increase from the previous window's average price of $40.54 per barrel mark. The increase is being attributable to the renewed hopes of a COVID-19 vaccine following other announcements by major vaccine producers within the period. Data collected by IES Economic Desk from the foreign exchange forex market shows the cedi maintained its stability against the US dollar, trading at an average price of 5.7 Ghana cedi to the US dollar over the period. Due to the 11.5% increase in price of international benchmark Brent crude, the 6.94% increase in prices of gasoline, the 7.26% increase in gasoline prices, and the stability of the local currency, the Institute for Energy Security projects prices of fuel on the domestic market experiencing a sharp increase as we enter December 2020.
Let's do some more business stories now. Project coordinator of the Ghana Grass Cutter Project, Professor Boniface Kayan, has stated that the future of grass cutter farming in the country looks very bright based on the high interest and demand of the meat. Professor Kayan, who stated this during a follow-up training workshop for key beneficiary farmers and stakeholders in the Upper West region, noted that due to the high demand, their innovative has attracted commendations from both local and domestic and international markets.
It's also the head of Department of the Animal Science, School of Agriculture, University of Ghana, said grass cutter meat was a delicacy for everyone in the country, hence the availability of already market for the meat. The Grass Cutter Project coordinator noted that before the introduction of the project in the Upper West region, there was no grass cutter in the region. However, starting with a few farmers on pilot basis, they now bred over 700 animals. According to him, the region currently has 42 grass cutter farmers with over 200 live ones, adding that they had so far sold 170 of them. The academician noted that they had made a lot of progress in grass cutter farming in the region, judging from where they started, and expressed optimism and the enthusiasm was growing and more people will join after the workshop. He said through the Grass Cutter Initiative for Rural Transformation, they would continue to supply interested farmers with grass cutters as well as the cages to enable them start and also become grass cutter farmers. The Grass Cutter Project coordinator, however, noted the issue of domestication was still a challenge, which they, together with the National Institute of Genetics in Japan, were still trying to address through selective breeding. The Ghana Grass Cutter Project has been in operation for the past 6 years since it was launched in 2014. The initiative is a collaborative effort between the University of Ghana and the Ajimoto Foundation and the Koto University, Givu University, and the National Institute of Genetics, all in Japan, as well as the University of Edinburgh. The aim is to support farmers in the region to rear grass cutters to augment family income, improve protein intake, and promote environmental and wildlife conservation.
So that's all we have for you on our business news. The afternoon is international. Let's do some international stories. On December 2nd, Wednesday, the newly elected parliament in New Zealand passed a resolution declaring a climate emergency. The move is based on finding of the Intergovernment Panel on Climate Change, which emphasized the need to reduce global emissions to zero by 2050 in order to prevent further increase in global warming.
Though largely a symbolic gesture, the move is an official recognition of the growing need of policy actions to curb carbon emissions and undertake other measures to prevent climate change. Except for the main opposition National Party, most other parliamentarians voted in favor of the declaration. Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern told the Parliament that the declaration is an acknowledgement of one of the greatest challenges of our time and the burden which the next generation will carry if we do not get this right and do not take action now, Reuters reported. The National Party spokesperson said in Parliament that the declaration is mostly a symbolic gesture and it's not worth making if there's no intention to act in the best interest of New Zealanders. However, the Mario and Green parties welcomed the move as long overdue Radio New Zealand reported. The declaration notes the devastating impact that volatile and extreme weather will have on the New Zealand and the well-being of its people. The government has promised to make its public sector carbon neutral by 2025. It also passed a Zero Carbon Act in 2019, which states that New Zealand will achieve zero emissions by 2050 in all sectors except farming. All new offshore gas and oil exploration has also been banned. The move will be supported by a fund of 200 million New Zealand dollars, around $140 million US dollars. Wednesday's climate emergency declaration made New Zealand the 32nd country to have done so, after countries like Japan, Canada, UK and France among others. New Zealand contributes just 0.17% of the world's total emissions, standing at 17th among the 32 members of the Organization of Economic Cooperation and Development. Most of its emissions are related to road transport and agriculture, a sharp rise in emissions that has been recorded in the last 2 decades.
So credit to the People's Dispatch for our international news. Up next, sports. Now, up next is sport, and my colleague Bless Alomoso joins me with the latest in sports. Bless, what's trending in the latest of sports?
Yeah, so Ash Gold is in the news, and then there are some Europa League matches too on the horizon. We'll be looking at those matches. But then first, let's go to the Ash Gold story, where they have named 20 players for their trip to Burkina Faso for their return leg clash against Salitas in the ongoing CAF Confederation Cup preliminary round. So there's more to the story.
The Miners played a stalemate with the Burkinabe side at the Obuasi Lenkle Stadium last Sunday and would be looking to make amends during the reverse fixture on Saturday at Ouagadougou. Coach Milovan Serkovic of Ash Gold has named 20 players who are expected to make the trip to bring honor to the club. The team is hoping to be the host at the Stade du 4 out to pick the maximum points despite not being able to beat Salitas at Obuasi. The list include Mohamed Bailu, Mpem Da Costa, Abdul Bashiru, Richard Oseajiman, Kwejo Amwakon, David Abanga, Apia McCarthy, Amos Kofi Nkrumah, Atakusi, Hans Kofi, Mark Ajekum, Robert Debuo, Roland Amuzu, Kwame Moses, Michael Enu, Eric Eso, Amos Adai, Yao Ano, Ivan Tobin, and Jacob Isiedu Apau.
Now, away from Ash Gold, we go to the Europa League, where some 24 matches will be played this evening. The matches will be rolling on your screens right about now. So, some of the top liners, Roma, who lead Group A with 10 points, will look forward to stretch their lead when they invite Young Boys to the Stadio Olimpico. And then elsewhere, the Ghanaians have a healthy lead at the top of Group B with 12 points. But what happens when they face Rapid Wien? Well, we'll discover that later tonight. And then Bayer Leverkusen gave Nice a 6-2 drubbing the last time out. We'll find out if Nice will have the wherewithal to make amends. Now we go to Group F, which happens to be one of the toughest. Italian outfit Napoli will face AZ Alkmaar. Alkmaar edged out Napoli with a 1-0 win in the first leg. Then there's also English interest in Group G, as the Foxes, Leicester City, will go away to Zorya Luhansk. So Serie A leaders to AC Milan will look forward to grab all 3 points when they invite Celtic to the San Siro. Then Mourinho's Tottenham will travel Tottenham, I beg your pardon, will travel to Lask with hopes of fetching all 3 points. So that's in some other matches in the Europa League tonight.
Okay, so what's happening in what do you call it? The local, sports, Ash Code and all that? Who is leading? Who is dropping out and all that?
Well, I would say there isn't much happening. You know, the GPL started 2 weeks ago. Hearts have not yet won any match. You know, they lost one, they drew one, so they'll be hoping to make amends. And then, so that's all for sport for today.
Right, thank you very much, Bless. Bless was here to give us the update or the latest update in sports. All right, so that's all for sports. We'll go for a quick break. We'll tell shortly. Alright, so this is how we end today's bulletin here on Pan-African Television. My name is Ivan Bans Abban, and do enjoy the rest of our programs. But do not forget to follow us on our social media handles: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and on YouTube. My name is Ivan Bans once again, and do enjoy the rest of our programs.